have it, right?
Figure get into it. So we're gonna talk about some streaming services. We're gonna do a 5 nights recap because you and Linda get to talk about 5 nights tonight, and I know she had some things she wanted to say. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
Welcome to Weigh In Wednesdays.
She'll be up.
So it is Wednesday, and as we've been doing every Wednesday this year, we're here to weigh in with some thoughts and discussions on the things that are going on. Mostly in the geek community, movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, you name it, we discuss it. Here to get your opinions and let you weigh in for Weigh In Wednesday. What's going on, people? Welcome. Yo, what up? What it do? How you doing?
What up?
Howdy.
Yo.
So tonight, streaming services. This, I don't know why this is like so heavy on my mind, but I just like, I hate the way I watch TV now. I absolutely hate. Oh wait, we got music coming in. Don't need music again. I absolutely hate the way that I watch TV now, and it is primarily because of streaming services. We've gotten into this. We've gotten into this really weird space where everything is on demand. You know, we're already aware of that part. Everything is on demand, and because of that, we expect to see what we want when we want, and we have that option. Every streaming service has their on-demand content. It allows us to pick up what we want to watch when we want to watch it. And you know, Netflix kind of started it off, in my opinion. I think they are probably the worst, and I still struggle when it comes to trying to watch things on Netflix because, hey, what's up, Gabe? You're just sticking with Call of Duty. I mean, you know, I have to break away sometimes, but you know, all of this started with a conversation I was having with a friend of mine who was like, we were talking about Jujutsu Kaisen, and I've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen every week, and I always look forward to the new episode. Matter of fact, there's a new episode tonight, and as soon as this show is over, I'm going to go watch that episode. And it started initially, I was kind of thinking, because of course, you know, you have your manga readers and you have your anime watchers. And I was curious because, you know, some things have gone down in Jujutsu Kaisen lately, and everybody's like, oh man, well, you think that's bad, wait until this or that. And, you know, they're, you know, chapters and chapters ahead. And, hey, well, we appreciate it. I'm not going to say that out loud because you need to be paying attention to that. But thank you for being with us. But yeah, it's you know, you have these people who are like, they're so far ahead, and I find that I'm having to wait every week for the new episode to drop to find out the cliffhanger from the previous episode. And in comparison, that got me to thinking about how when you watch something on Netflix is still dropping their entire season of whatever they have. Witcher came out, and we had the entire show for The Witcher. It wasn't, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there, or one episode a week. It was the entire season. So if you want to watch Witcher, you watch all of it at once. And once you've watched it, there's nothing else to watch. But then all the other streaming services came out, you know, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Paramount Plus, Peacock, and everybody has all their own original content. And because they have their own original content, there's a lot of content out there to consume. Because of the amount of content that's available, there is this disconnect, I think, because some of the streaming services have it set where they're only dropping an episode a week in order to kind of stretch out the content and keep you subscribed for 2 months. If they've got 6 episodes and they do one a week, you're going to have their service for 2 months in order to watch it. Netflix, you could be like, well, I'm gonna watch this in a weekend and I'm done. So being able to like subscribe and unsubscribe, keep it for a little bit, drop it, keep it for a little bit, drop it. And then other ones you have to kind of keep continuously. And everybody's raising their prices. We originally got into streaming services because everybody wanted to cut the cord. We were getting away from cable. Cable prices were going up. Didn't matter who your provider was. You have Charter, Comcast, AT&T. If you were paying for cable, say what?
So that didn't last.
Yeah, everybody was like, cut the cord. And now, because there's so many different streaming services, if you want to get all of the content, you almost have to go back to cable. Everybody has their original content to make it exclusive, to come here, to come there. You want to watch any of the Marvel MCU films, you got to have Disney Plus. You want to watch any of the DC films, we're not even going to talk about what it's called, but if you want to watch any of the DC films, you got to get HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
And even those umbrellas are expanding a little bit to encompass more. We have HBO Max, so we have Max, and my wife still pays for Discovery Plus. Part of that is because she already has her cues lined up. Her algorithm is already set, and it recommends everything for her the way she wants. Disney sucks. I mean, they're all getting to be a little challenging, especially as everybody continues to raise prices, But they got to get those licenses. They got to be able to afford the various licenses. But yeah, she likes the algorithm, the way it's set up on her Discovery Plus. It already knows what she watches and what to recommend for her to watch. And so she just sticks with that. Meanwhile, I'm over here like, we already pay for it with Max, so let's drop this one. But it's going to require her to switch and try to re-find all the shows, get everything queued back up where she is. It won't know what she has watched versus what she hasn't watched. So it'll probably recommend stuff she's already seen. She doesn't want to do that. It's a hassle. So, happy wife, happy life. I just let her keep her Discovery Plus.
Yeah. I mean, if there was ever a reason,
you know what I'm saying? Like it's cool. You keep that, you enjoy that. I catch it all on Max. It makes it simple for me. But it's just so interesting because I feel like all of the different shows that come on all the different networks, all the different streaming, and it's like when I do just a quick recap of thinking of what I've watched, like we just finished watching Loki. We watched Ahsoka. I watched, what did we watch on Netflix? Fall of the House of Usher. There's another one by the same group that did Fall of the House of Usher that we're about to watch. It escapes me at the moment, but it's apparently about a vampire and a priest that comes to a town and something weird. So I want to check that one out. But it's like all of these shows have it set up where they drag you along week by week. And when you're having to try to watch 5 or 6 or 7 different shows, having the convenience to watch one episode a week per show gives you something of a balance. I have something to watch on a Monday, something to watch on a Tuesday. I'm here on Wednesday, so hopefully this is what you're watching on Wednesdays. Wink, wink. Click that QR code right there above David so that you can follow us, hit the notification bell so you can find out every time we're live. But, you have something to watch on Wednesdays, and then you have something on Thursdays because, the release schedule of the new episodes. And so usually come the weekend, Friday, it's a free day because there's not too many shows that release on Friday, but movies come out on Fridays. So then I tend to, if we're going to hit the theater or something over the weekend. Saturday is a free day. Maybe I'm playing some video games or, doing something else. Sunday, anything we didn't watch during the week, we catch up on it on Sunday. But even Sunday mornings, like that's one of my off days. Get up, do family breakfast, and I've got something that I'm watching through all seasons of Craig of the Creek. So every Sunday morning when I go down for breakfast, there we go. I've got something to watch. But it's weird because Netflix got me in this habit of having access to the entire season when it drops. So it kills me to have to wait a whole week to be able to get the next episode. But if I have the whole season and I watch it in a weekend, then I have nothing to watch. So it's a double-edged sword. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. David, am I the only one having these problems? Do you have any of these issues?
Honestly, I'm just kind of waiting for everything to just fall under the Disney umbrella like it's going to. Just, there's the there's three things that are inevitable in this life: living the heat death of the universe, and Disney trying to swallow everything.
Right. The Brothers Grimm comics auctions on Friday night. See, now I could very well have a Friday show. Thanks a lot. Thanks for that, Parrish. Now my Fridays are taken up. That was a free day or a makeup day. Now I got something I got to watch on Fridays. But yeah, I mean, it's inevitably everything will come through. And I think even that by itself presents an issue sometimes, because I have conversations with people all the time who tell me, they're interested in a show. A new show comes out. What do? We typically want to sit around the water cooler, talk about last night's episode, or talk about the show we watched recently. And we can't do that because person I'm talking to, where they're waiting for all the episodes to drop so they can just binge it.
Yeah.
So now I'm sitting there unable to talk to anybody about it. Or worse, they read the manga and I'm not caught up with them. So I'm just sitting on this information I want to discuss with no one to talk to about it.
Let me
go ahead. I got thoughts. I can ramble.
Yeah, hold on.
And so what we end up with is we end up in a moment where it's temporarily somewhat distracting, if you will, because it's like, I've got this in place. I've got these thoughts. I have this TV show that I'm watching that I'm enjoying, no less. And we're not able to like discuss it with anybody because things are changing, and the way things change so constantly, everybody's all together on something. Brittany Green, that will be vending at the Conyers show next month. Oh, wonderful. The person on screen right here, I actually met him and his daughter. She was not there, but I did get a chance to speak with her through social media, the power of social media. She's a comic artist, and I met him at a comic book and toy convention in Conyers, Georgia. It was actually a lot of fun. I did a live stream there, if you all recall, and got a chance to meet Mr. Green, and they had a lot of really cool merch. I was able to pick up some comics, and on my computer, I have this really nifty. Let me see if I've got it. There it is. I've got this really nifty Spike Spiegel that I have, and I keep it on my computer. It adorns the window of my computer screen. And this was a very talented young lady named Brittany. She's a comic artist, has her own line of comics. Very talented, I must say. And so kudos to her. And yeah, I will definitely try to make it again. And it would be amazing to meet you all in person, get to meet Brittany in person. And, maybe we'll do another live stream and you can talk and she can pitch her comic there as well. But for the streaming services, it's like I was having a discussion with my wife about it. And my wife is someone that I would categorize as like a normie. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm an elder geek. She's a minor geek, like she has a few things that she's a fan of on her own, not, through me. She does like Star Wars on her own. I'm very fortunate there. But she's not like big into the comic books or anything like that. And so getting her into the MCU was more my doing. but she enjoys Lord of the Rings on her own. I didn't have to like beg her for that. She wanted to see it. She was very excited. Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, all of that. When we watched Rings of Power, didn't have to twist her arm for any of that. And so she kind of follows along in my geek journey, and we were kind of discussing the way media is consumed. And so the new movie, The Marvels, is coming out, and that's another entry in the MCU. And it kind of brought up a question as far as like, I'm wondering how the movie is going to go, simply because I know not a lot of people watched Miss Marvel. And so having one of your main three characters be someone who had their own show that, not that it wasn't a good show, but just that maybe a lot of people did not see it, you're going to have to do a little bit of recap in the movie to explain who she is. And that takes away from the story that could be told. It's definitely possible to do it in a fashion that doesn't detract from the story. But it does make me question or wonder how effective that's going to be. And at the same time, as a viewer, as a cinema goer, as a person going to the movies, why am I being penalized because I didn't watch your TV show? I'm coming to see the movie. I should be able to sit and watch the movie stand alone. She's absolutely a keeper. I should be able to sit and watch the movie as a standalone piece of action or piece of fiction, or whatever story is being told should stand on its own and not require additional viewing in order to be caught up or, be up to date. And I'm still a little shell shocked. We'll go all the way back to Batman v Superman. And people are going to laugh when I say that, but as a defender of Batman v Superman, it's always been an issue of mine that as an avid Superman fan, having grown up reading all of the comics and things like that, I feel as though when I watched Batman v Superman, I was able to get something different out of the movie than the casual moviegoer or the average audience member. Because of that, there's a question of the storytelling element. And this is not, everybody has their opinion on Zack Snyder. I'm not here to defend Zack Snyder. That is not the conversation we're having. We're simply talking about the plot holes or the pieces that are missing that have to be filled in from other places. And the streaming services are now a large part of that issue, or it's a growing concern as a result, at least in my opinion. Again, kind of going back to Disney, when we look at what Disney Plus did, and you have The Mandalorian seasons 1, 2, and 3. You have the Book of Boba Fett. You have the series Ahsoka. If you take those 3 series, everything kind of ties in. Everything is interwoven. It all crisscrosses, and it could very well be building up to this story of Thrawn and Thrawn's return, or Heir to the Empire, which is the continuation books that took place. They're now considered Star Wars legends, but the continuation of the story after Return of the Jedi, according to the book series. If they cultivate all of those stories into a movie, fans are going to love it because people are going to go out and support, hopefully another good Star Wars thing. And it looks like Dave Filoni's been doing his thing. So if Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are in charge of this new movie, something akin to Heir to the Empire, fantastic. But how do you recap Mando and Grogu, Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, Ahsoka and Sabine Wren, Ezra? All of that has to be explained, like a Star Wars version of Guardians of the Galaxy, a big team up movie with all of these characters in this story, unless you watch all of these individual shows. So people come out to support the movie because of Star Wars, but if they didn't consume the other media, then how do we know what's going on? Do we have to rely and trust on the fact that they're going to be able to give us enough content in this hour and a half, 2 hours to bring us up to speed with what needs to be explained so that we know what's going on, that's asking a lot. And that takes away from what they could be giving us on screen. It's the exact same issue that we're going to face with the Marvels. And so is this a DC problem? Not a DC. Is this a Disney problem? Is this just something that Disney's doing? Are they relying too heavily on their streaming services? Because of course that question extends over to what they've been doing in Phase 5. Secret Invasion was a mess. I don't think that it was the pinnacle of, Marvel storytelling. That was a very blah. Like, I didn't get anything out of it. Sam Jackson having a couple of scenes and a nice little monologue. The scene where he and his wife both shoot and both miss. There's some moments. Seeing Super Scroll, there's some stuff there. But as overall, the show was not great. And how does that fit into the larger picture of the MCU? How does that tie us into what's going on in Loki? We've got Kang the Conqueror, Quantumania, which was kind of eh. But if you watched Loki along with Quantumania, you start to see some crossover there. And so it becomes a thing where you're just trying to fill the gaps in the storytelling with the TV shows. And if you are not watching each of those shows, do you come in less prepared? And I'm not by no means am I ever the one to gatekeep and be like, well, you should watch it all. No, watch what you want to watch. Enjoy what you want to enjoy. And if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. I don't see how She-Hulk as a whole contributed anything to the MCU other than having some nice fifth wall moments. And I say fifth wall, not fourth wall, having some fifth wall moments, because recognizing the show was a show inside of the show and talking with the robot, Kevin, Feige or whatever it was, you know what I'm saying? That was like extremely meta, and that was fun. And that was really good, but it did not serve the greater purpose of the MCU. Now, I enjoyed the show Miss Marvel. I think the coming of age story of a young girl with superpowers and learning how to deal with that and how to balance, it definitely gave some Spider-Man vibes, where we have this young teen trying to balance her life and do the right thing and be a superhero. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great show. I think the powers were displayed very well. There was a little bit of a difference from what Kamala Khan's powers are in the comics and in other media versus what her powers are in the show. But, adapted for television, and, it's based on the character. So they had to make some changes that fit within the MCU. And so I definitely understand that a person who watched Miss Marvel will go into the Marvels with a better understanding of who the character is. Therefore, we don't have to take any time to explain her backstory. And with the post-credit scenes at the end of the series and stuff like that, all of that already kind of builds up into what's what. If you watch the trailer and you didn't watch the show, you're like, who the hell is that? And what's that doing? What does that mean? But if you watch the show, then you kind of already understand, as they've already given you a little bit of that and broke it down just a smidge. And so, okay, She-Hulk sets up Daredevil. She-Hulk does set up Daredevil. But Daredevil was also like, it's one of those weird things where it's like same universe, since it was already same universe, because Daredevil was already seen in Spider-Man. Matt Murdock, the lawyer, blonde lawyer, talking with Peter Parker and giving him his options, catches the brick, that whole bit. So he was already in the MCU, so to speak, allowing him then to come over and be fully realized. Yeah, that's definitely great. But I don't necessarily know that She-Hulk sets up Daredevil. But it does definitely lend, since we got to see costume Daredevil fight and not just Matt Murdock. I won't disagree with that statement. I will say that She-Hulk does set up Daredevil. She-Hulk makes Daredevil possible. Is that fair? Can we balance there? But even Daredevil is street level in terms of the MCU. So when we look at the greater threats, I mean, obviously we're coming away. What is Daredevil going to do against a Kang? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't see him going up against Kang the Conqueror, and I mean, he might be able to whoop him hand to hand, but Kang will just do it over and over and over until. Actually, no, I think like one or two blasts and Daredevil's down. I don't see him defeating Kang. So I mean, you've got that little bit of complication. But I mean, again, as it just gets back to the streaming services. See, okay, thank you. I think that's fair there. As it relates back to the streaming services, a lot of the networks are relying too heavily on their streaming services to be successful. Because, like, I honestly, I don't even watch network television anymore. Everything I watch is exclusively through streaming, whether it be my anime, TV shows, everything. The only thing that I think I still watch on network television would be like sports. And technically, Hulu has live sports because that's all the hell they talk about. So, I mean, I'm noticing now a lot of the streaming services are starting to introduce the various sports on the streaming service. So, if you got Paramount Plus, you can watch this game. If you got Peacock, you can watch that game. And, it's like different teams and organizations are allowing their licenses through the different streaming services so that you can still watch the game. That's going to be fantastic come playoffs, when that's when I really start tuning into sports and it kind of matters, because during the regular season, and don't come for me, but during the regular season, it's anybody's game, and it is what it is. It can change at any time, and you get a wild card in and they win it all. They had a horrible season, but maybe they were on a win streak. Jeff and I talked about it last week. They're coming in off a win streak going into the playoffs, and they've got the momentum versus somebody who had a fantastic season and their players are burnt out. So, it's there. And yeah, it is definitely extra money, but all of the streaming services are becoming more and more expensive. And pretty soon you're going to look up and, well, we're going to look up. I'm not going to say you, because I'm just as guilty. I'm right there watching them all. But we're going to look up, and streaming services are going to, the combined streaming services, after you paid for all of them, they will have nickel and dimed us to the point where you might as well just have cable. And if you get the right cable package or the right cable service, you just on demand that shit yourself. Like, not only can you on demand it, you can DVR it, watch it at your convenience, and the whole nine. You still have to fast forward through commercials. So I will say that's the one thing I like about, like, guaranteed with Netflix and Disney Plus right now is the lack of commercials. But as they've been talking about having advertisement in both of those services, it's just a matter of time before it's all going to suck, and we're, all the streaming services are just going to be network television again. And so it's getting more and more difficult, because, and there's so many different streaming services out there. It's nice to get like the bundles and a couple that work together. I used to have this one called VRV, and I thought VRV was great because it incorporated all of the different anime shows, or not shows, but all the different anime sites that I used to watch anime. It had Crunchyroll stuff, it had some Funimation stuff, it had High Dive, it had Mondo. I don't think it had Retro Crush, but some of that stuff was previously available through other services. And so, being able to have one site that I paid for, I think VRV was like $9.99, and it included all of those services. Now I'm having to pay for each of those services individually. I know with Hulu, you can bundle Hulu, Disney, and I think it's ESPN all together for a single price package. And so going through all the various streaming platforms, like I don't know who's partnered up with Paramount Plus or who's partnered up with Peacock yet. But I imagine somebody's going to get together and, they'll combine their forces and try to get the market cornered again. So we're going to bring back on a couple of our favorites. We've got the Hat Man, Heroic Hat, David, and Linda. Linda is back with us today. What's going on, ma'am?
Ooh, we back.
Hello.
The Coca-Cola shark. Nom nom. She is with us.
Yeah, I got tired of fighting the camera, so.
Gotcha. Well, we appreciate you being here nonetheless.
I guess I'm fighting the headset more than anything else, but.
Now, is this a new headset with new ears?
It's the new one, and I already have it repackaged, and we're sending it back tomorrow.
Okay.
Like it's been doing it since I first opened it and plugged it in. It's been doing it. So I want to get the new model because there is a new model, and it has detachable ears, and it comes with 3 different sets. It comes with kitty ears, bear ears, or bunny ears, which I wanted the bunny ears.
Okay.
But it's $200.
Oh wow.
And the regular one, the old version, is only $100. So I'll get that credit, but now I got to find another $100 to upgrade and not have a headset until then. So, and my new computer is being put together as we speak. So,
hey, okay, all good things. All good things to hear. Got some beast stars happening over there with the little bunny ears. Huh? So, David, now you got to get some wolf ears.
I'm going to hope that I'm going to hope they go on sale during Black Friday, but I might try and pick them up then.
Gotcha. So have you been hearing my gripes as far as the streaming services and how it all works? And
yeah, it's essentially cable.
That's kind of what we're getting to.
You buy different packages. You're paying minimum of like $75 a month, even if you have like just your favorites. You're still paying like $20+ for each one.
Yeah. And since nobody has everything, if you have these 3, you're going to miss those 3. So you can't see those shows. And and I mean, honestly, it really does lean back towards the internet is a wonderful place to find all the things you want.
Mm-hmm.
And right.
What's your favorite Five Nights at Freddy's character? Foxy the Pirate? That's crazy.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's talking about One Piece, and they're a bunch of pirates. And,
Yo ho ho!
I got a buddy who is absolutely already king of the pirates, and it's like if there's something I want to see, it'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna buy you some DVDs."
No, see what you do with Hulu at the very least. Hulu usually does a special every year where you get Hulu every single month for a year for like $1 or $2 or something like that. So what you do, you sign up with a new email every single year. And as long as you don't mind it not keeping your preferences because you're having to get a whole new account.
Yeah.
That's Hulu. Free.
I mean, if you create just get a sheet of paper, write everything down, update it occasionally, And I have had to, when I was watching everything that I had saved on my VRV, and it had Crunchyroll included, when that dissolved, they told me that I would be able to log into Crunchyroll and that everything would still be there and it would all be saved. And that was a lie. That was absolutely a lie. So my entire queue and my watch history and my log and all of that was gone. On the plus side, as I went through and as I was rebuilding everything, I did not have to add certain things in because it's like, I know I'd watched that. I know I had watched that. So I didn't have to add those back on the list. But I did not like that the algorithm, and this is something my wife talked about. The algorithm didn't know that I'd watched it. And so it didn't know to recommend things. And so, at one point, David had done me a wonderful favor of giving me some anime homework and some stuff to watch. And I have that list somewhere in a chat thread. and I can go back to it and find that when I need to. But like for example, when I go to like pick up RE0 again and decide that I want to watch that, I got to scrub through a bunch of episodes to figure out which episode I was on. And it's really just going to come down to what I remember from that episode. And I've tried doing that before, and I ended up watching 2 episodes that I didn't remember, only to get back to an episode that I did remember, and then realize that I was like 10 episodes ahead of that.
Dang.
And it's like, because I did not remember the events of these 2 like filler episodes, then I get back to this major thing over here and I recognize all of that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I've seen this. Go to next episode. Okay, I remember all that. Go to next episode. Seen all of that. Go to next episode. And I had to keep doing that until I finally figured out where I was again. And it was like, it was 10 episodes past all that. And it was crazy because I was like, I don't remember this, so I must be here. I did that recently with Black Clover because I have a Crunchyroll account and my son has a Funimation account. Much prefer to use his Funimation account because I have more voiceover options. So a lot of the stuff that I was watching that I had to watch subtitled, they have available on Funimation dubbed. And sometimes when I need to get through a bunch of episodes, I don't want to be stuck having to stare at the screen. I want to be able to walk around and look at the screen. And when it's in English, I can do that. So as I've been trying to catch up and, you know, like I've probably said this a couple of times, but I'm watching through Black Clover, and yeah, not every episode of Black Clover is like a banger. Like, you know what I'm saying?
What?
Like,
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I don't know. You have no idea what you're talking about.
You know, so it's like sometimes it can just be on. And I can get credit for that episode because I looked up and saw that nothing was happening and let it continue playing until, oh, wait, something's happening there. Stop and pay attention. You know, and you can usually hear when the fights are happening. So that's when you know you need to like stop what you're doing and glance over at the TV at least. And so all I'm trying to do is I want to get through so that I can watch the movie. And admittedly, I've gotten enough. I'm 90 episodes in, so I mean I've invested. I'm in now, and I want to know, where does this power come from? Why is anti-magic a big thing? Who used to own that sword? You know, I have questions now, and I'm invested. So it started off, I just wanted to, you know, blast through it to get to the movie. I'm at a point now where I could probably watch the movie and it would be okay. I wouldn't be spoiling anything or ruining anything because I've seen part of the power, but it looks like there's a bit of a time skip because Asta looks older and more mature in the movie. So I'm still like, we'll wait. We'll hold off. Let me just go ahead and finish it. And then once I finish it, then we'll pick it up. Or David, if you know offhand, when does the movie take place in relation to the series?
It's let me look it up real quick because I want to tell you the wrong thing.
Okay, because I'm like, you know, if it turns out that I'm like just a couple episodes away, then yeah, I'll absolutely pause to go watch the movie and then come back. Because I've noticed that even with like the My Hero Academia movies, which were damn near impossible to find, and why I had separate, you know, logins for both Funimation and Crunchyroll because Funimation had the movies, Crunchyroll had the show. It's crazy.
Rosie, stop being fat. Go.
Oh.
Go, Rosie.
So you got the timeline.
Yes, so it does take place in between the Elf Reincarnation arc and then the Heart Kingdom Joint Struggle arc. So if you finished everything with the elves, then you can jump into the movie.
Okay. No. Where I am, they have just done the. They're creating the special. You know what? We just had the Knights exam. Or the Knights tournament, where they were,
so you're like that's actually the next arc. So,
okay, and so they are they're deciding who's going to be on this squad that's going to go after the bad guys, and everybody's trying to make the cut, and they had to fight one another. We had some pretty dope battles and saw some interesting team ups and whatnot, and. So even though like, Austin Clan did not win the whole tournament, he's going to make the cut just because of his impressive skills and feats. And everybody got a moment to shine. And I thought that tournament was a really good way to show everybody's different grimoires and their attacks and how they use their skills. And so I was quite impressed with that. I have to go. Everyone to say great job the show. Keep it up and catch you later. Hey, Gabriel, I appreciate you stopping by, man. Thanks so much. And for everybody who's curious, there is a Star Citizen chat thread up. Star Citizen is an online MMO. Has a lot of really cool space adventures and ships and pirates, and there's that pirating again. Some space pirates and things like that. A lot of story there, and a lot of different stuff you can do. So those people who are enjoying Starfield or No Man's Sky or Outer Worlds, but you want it on a grander scale, to go check out Star Citizen. And Gabriel is happy to bring you along and teach you the ropes. He put a thread out in our group, our Facebook group, Grown A Geeks. He put a thread out there explaining how he was happy to help and use his referral link to hop in. And I think they've got like a special event coming up where you can test fly all these different ships. It's pretty cool. I actually signed into Star Citizen for a little bit. Got a chance to do some voiceover work for someone who is creating a YouTube series, and they're using Star Citizen as the platform by like the way people did Red versus Blue. They would just take a bunch of Halo characters and run them around a map and do voiceover over it. It's something like that, but it uses Star Citizen. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And I got to be a spy. I got to do some voice work for a spy. It was pretty cool. It was enjoyable. So I had to hop in, get like 2 weeks of training on how to play Star Citizen, how to move, so I could move my character and do the stuff that needed to be done. I thought I was literally just going to like have to talk. He was like, no, we need you to control that character. I was like, oh shit. Okay, cool. So I get in there, they hand me all this equipment, and it was like, yo, this is pretty cool. So I had like some really high level shit to play around with, and that was enjoyable. So we appreciate you stopping through, Gabe. Oh, wait, yeah, here it is. He's talking about we have a free fly event coming up November 17th through the 30th, and his organization is willing to help, and there's a tutorial now to help with the more advanced gameplay like mining, salvaging, the first-person shooter, and bunkers, bounty hunter, etc. There, like I said, there's a lot to the game, man, and it is so cool. But like, it was one of those games like you would have to get a special little skin to go over your keyboard for all the bindings required to play the game. So let me not pretend like Mech Warrior is one of those things where it's like there's just so many different commands available. It's not just a WASD with a couple of keybinds. You have a lot of different things that you can do. And so Star Citizen is a pretty big game, pretty involved. So you got some time and you want to, pump up your computer and test its capabilities, have at it, man. It's a lot of fun when I played it. It's just, I don't have the time to dedicate to it. I do way too much of everything. Don't master anything. That is how it goes for me. I had like a whole table of notes that I wanted to go through about the streaming services. And of course I sat down and my notebook is not in here. It's in the other room. Sad face. I remember some of the key points. And like I said, it's just, I don't know. I really hate that I'm still torn between, I don't know which is better. Is it better to watch a little bit at a time, or is it to binge? I think it really comes down to your schedule, your availability, and your preference. I'm
even look. Just Disney's just gonna take it over. That's all. That's all that's gonna happen.
Just wait till the House of Mouse owns it, and then we can watch everything on Disney Plus.
I have just resorted to if it's something that I'm not actively watching a show on, then I disable my account, or I unsubscribe in general. And then if there's something that's on, like I want to watch something and it's only on like, Peacock, I'll go and resubscribe for Peacock for a month, and then I'll cancel it again whenever I'm done. So the only things that, like, I've done that recently with Disney Plus, though I just deleted my whole account because they were giving me issues trying to unsubscribe or whatever, or cancel my account. So I had to actually delete my entire account. I could not find a way to cancel my account. It kept trying to direct me to Google Play. And I'm not subscribed to Google Play with Disney Plus.
Right.
So
I actually had, you know what? There was a couple months back, we were rerouting how everything is being paid for. Because at one point, my credit card company had like double points on streaming services. So we switched all of our streaming service payments over to the credit card. Well, when the double points option ended, we were like, okay, we just need to go back. But we wanted to have it paid out of the bill account now instead of the miscellaneous account. And so trying to go in and get everything set up. And then I realized that like I have 3 services signed up through Roku. I have 2 services signed up directly. Like my Netflix is directly through Netflix. Like it was because I've had Netflix for so long now. I had Netflix back when you got DVDs, you know what I'm saying? So my account, I've got a legacy account there.
See, that was too rich for my blood back then. You were a fancy person if you got Netflix through the mail. Okay.
Right. Like, so it was like, it's funny because I actually have like 2 or 3 movies. Like the last 3 movies that I had checked out at one point was right when they were switching from doing the disc returns, and I did not return one of the discs, so I still own that movie, and it's still in the Netflix sleeve. I have a Blu-ray player upstairs that has the Netflix streaming service built into the DVD player. That's a relic now. Let me tell you. That is a relic, but it's so cool because of this big, huge remote, and there's a Netflix button on it. I was like, whoa. Couldn't tell me anything back then. And but yeah, I mean, I've been going through I've been dealing with the streaming services for quite some time. And like one of the first things that one of the things I remember the most that I liked was I did like having the option to watch all of it. But Netflix was known more for movies. And like when it first started, it was Netflix and Hulu. You know what I'm saying? And Hulu was known for more about having TV shows. And next day on Hulu, if you didn't catch it when it came on, you could watch it in 2 days. You would watch it on Hulu in a couple of days. You know what I'm saying? And then you could kind of keep up, and they had whole series and stuff like that. And then Netflix started acquiring more television shows, and they got a lot of the stuff that was, in syndication and older shows and that sort of thing. As other companies began creating their own streaming services, Netflix lost a lot of licenses. But at that point, it was okay because they were now coming out with so much of their own original content, Netflix original, Netflix exclusives, etc. And they kind of filled that void of everything that was lost by just making all of their own stuff. Or even, I think, just some of the new shows that probably would have gone to other locations, Netflix just became part of the bidding war, and they picked up series. Because I don't really think it's like a group of sitting at Netflix at a table coming up with ideas of shows. I think they're just going out there buying the same pitches that, somebody pitches something to ABC. ABC doesn't pick it up. They pitch it to NBC. NBC doesn't pick it up.
I know that's a joke I remember hearing that was relevant for a while in different TV shows, saying if you are a struggling or aspiring writer, just sell your show to Netflix. They'll buy anything. Because for a time, they were picking up pretty much anything.
Yeah.
And making it into at least one season to see how it does. And then going from there.
And see, now I'm sure there's some stuff that is like truly originally created and you know, the whole thing is done through Netflix, but probably not as much as you would think. You know, I remember Hitman's Bodyguard was the first movie that made it into theaters, and it was a Netflix movie. And I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a really funny movie. Ryan Reynolds and Sam Jackson, you know, that was a really good movie. And so, of course, as you look through and you start to think, and Ryan Reynolds is one of those people that, like, you know, I could easily see him like doing something different and going a different way. So I'm surprised that like Deadpool is in a Netflix exclusive or something. But, you know, Fox and all of the people who are a part of that, what did they do? Got acquired by Disney.
It all comes back to Disney.
It all comes back to the mouse. So it's crazy, man. I don't know. I as much as I love my streaming services, I am constantly at odds with them because I feel like a lot of every one of them doesn't have a good algorithm because the recommendations sometimes are a little off.
Netflix almost never recommends stuff that I like, that I personally like. They go by such old, basic algorithms where it just goes off of like your age, your gender, and that's about like maybe your ethnicity, whatever like information you have on your account, period.
Right.
They go off of that. So like they'll push content that like women your age love romantic comedies. Here, have this. Have you noticed anything that I've ever watched on my Netflix? Has it ever been a romantic comedy? No. So why are you continuing to push, and not just romantic comedy? It's like the quirky like manic pixie girl, like pick me girl on her adventure with some dude or whatever. It's stupid things like that. And
I mean, that almost sounds like the Hallmark Channel.
It's gross. I get a little bit of that from I'm a little sensitive to that just because it is something that like sometimes can be a little triggering, because sometimes TikTok does it, sometimes Facebook does it a lot. TikTok's algorithm is a little bit better, but I'll still get pushed things like because I don't have kids, I'll get a lot of child-free by choice content. I'm like, I'm actively trying to have kids. That's kind of a touchy subject, and I'm not child-free by choice. I'm child-free by not by choice. And I'll get things like I'll get other things where it pushes stuff like for like baby clothes or baby formula or like parenting tips. And again, I don't even have kids. So what do you do? Why are these the only options of things that you push to me? And fashion, that's another thing too. It's a big one on Facebook. I can't wear any of the things you're pitching to me because you don't understand that I'm not the right size for the clothes that you're pitching. So, and these are very simple things that if they're going to spy on me right. Notice that I don't go to like I visit like the plus size section of Hot Topics website. Like I sometimes go to like Lane Bryant, like the Lane Bryant website. I don't go to straight size
algorithm is absolutely there. I've clicked the right buttons. Just look.
Like they'll push the, like, especially when the fast fashion was getting really big. Fast fashion doesn't carry stuff in my size usually. So it was pushing all these really cute fast fashion things. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I can't wear them though. Please get it out of my face.
I think sometimes though it's less about the algorithm and more about the advertisement. And I would say that in certain things, I mean, I've discussed many times how I purposely instruct Google what I'm looking for. So cancel. So that it knows to listen in on certain things and key in on this. And I know that if I put it in my search bar for this or this, that it's going to pop up and the advertisements are going to start. So much is connected to my Google account, and even like my Netflix is attached to my Yahoo email. almost every other streaming service is attached to my Gmail, and the Funimation is actually attached to my son's email. So Paramount Plus is a gift. It's being gifted to me. I'll say that, because we know they don't like certain things now, but it is gifted to me, and I have a profile on it. Peacock, I just have like the base plan, so it's actually kind of funny because sometimes there are things that we don't watch on Peacock because we have to watch the commercials. Because I have the basic package, and I'm like, am I in the mood for commercials? Do I want to be able to take breaks in between, or do I want to just sit and watch it? You know, but I do like that they will do things like if you watch all these commercials now, and we'll let you ad free during the show or whatever. So that's pretty cool.
I used to love Hulu when they would do that. Eventually, I did bite the bullet and got normal Hulu without ads, but back whenever I was younger and like I was just living with my parents, we all shared accounts. My parents didn't want to opt in for the more expensive Hulu with no ads, like just watch the ads. I hate ads. For some reason, I have such a burning, fiery passion of hate against advertisements, commercials specifically.
Right.
I hate them. I feel like they're a big waste of my time because like 9 times out of 10, it's for stuff that's not relevant to me at all. So it just feels like a waste of time, you know? And I get irrationally angry about it.
Yeah, I think it's so funny that like the ads in general, like I understand on network television how ads work. I do not understand how ads work on the subscription services because again, it feels like the algorithm is there and this should be targeted ads. And it's like I can't tell if the ad is based on the show that's being watched. They figure, well, this show is really high in the demographic of this. You know, it's great between males between 18 and 40 who like this and this. So this is the ad we're going to send to that because that's what they watch. Okay, fine, I get that. But sometimes it's like the advertisements don't match the show or the advertisements don't match the demographic, the person watching it. And it's like, I really don't know where that comes from. And I think that's a problem. And I am admittedly too cheap to spend the extra money to avoid the ads, but the ads are the perfect time for me to get up and go get a refill or, you know, do whatever.
So I will say that it has been a very long time. I'm going to take that off. It's been a very long time since I've watched commercials of any sort, just because I either have ad blockers or I actively avoid them because I pay extra to not have ads,
Right.
or commercials in general. And recently I've been watching an old sitcom on the Roku channel because I've been wanting to. It's like a guilty pleasure show. It's really hokey, but you know it brings me enjoyment of some sort.
I have to know what
it's Two Broke Girls.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Super politically incorrect. I've never been a fan of Whitney Cummings, the writer on the show or the producer, one of the creators, I think, of the show. Right. It's definitely a lot of her humor, but I can't remember her name. I love the actress that plays Max.
Mm-hmm.
So I know she had a small part in Thor. I wish she had more. I think they cut her from the second movie entirely. But anyway, so
she made up for it in WandaVision.
It's one of like also one of my comfort shows that I like to play just in the background while I'm doing stuff or on the TV while I'm going to sleep, things like that. And I used to have it in a ethical way that I had gotten on my computer and that we're not talking about. So yeah, I used to have it like that, and I just loop it like on my computer, and I'd play it, you know, while I would sleep or whatever. I had my computer hooked up to a TV in my bedroom. And then after I don't have that set up anymore, a few years go by, and I'm like, I haven't watched that show in a while. I definitely don't have the old files anymore. Let me see if it's streaming somewhere, because it has to be streaming somewhere, right? I look everywhere, and I eventually find it. It's on Amazon Prime, but you have to buy it. So it's only available
Amazon. All they do is sell stuff. There's every time I like want to watch something or I think of some old show, shit always comes up on Amazon. But you got to buy it. $4.99, $3.99. I'm like, really?
So here's the thing, though. It's been a few years, and I keep checking every so often, every few months or so. I think about it, and I check just to see because it rotates. You know, people sell off shows; they switch things all the time. Eventually, I see that it's available on Roku, and I'm like, I've never watched anything on the Roku app or channel or whatever it is. I have a Roku TV. That's my primary TV in our bedroom. And so I download the Roku app, which wasn't on my Roku TV because I think I had deleted it. I just didn't use it. So, and then I search for it, and there it says with commercials. And I'm like, well, that's not favorable, but let's give it a shot. And I am confident to say that commercials are just as horrible and cringy now as they were from what I remember. And I hate them so much. Like I'll have it playing on my phone while I'm working. And every time a commercial break comes on, I have to turn down the volume on my phone. I can't listen because it'll play like the same 5 or 6 ads. Thank you, David. It'll play like the same.
I did it. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. It'll play like the same 5 or 6 ads. And it'll rotate between which ones it shows me. And oh my God, I get annoyed really easily from noise. And those are just one of the things. It just gets to me. I can't stand commercials, especially because they want to be cringy because it makes it stand out in your brain. And then you remember the product. But then see, it backfires to people like me because I remember the product and I will avoid it at all costs. I will never purchase your product if I hate your commercial.
For fear of being like the cringy people in the commercial?
No, not even like that. Just out of spite. Out of pure spite. You sat there and tortured me for minutes of my time at a time. Life is precious. I don't have time for your cringy torture. So
I think the only thing I do miss one aspect of commercials. I miss the as seen on TV commercials because and I don't know if it was, I feel like Saturday Night Live did the best parody of this. But it's one of those things where I remember there was one, and this was the joke one, but it was like the neck basket. And it was like, do you find yourself having to carry a bunch of stuff but don't have enough space to carry it all? And it's like this unnecessarily clumsy person goes to pick something up and and fumbles it right there and they drop it. And it's like, bro, you had 2 things in your hand and you couldn't carry that. And so now you can avoid all of that with the neck basket. And it's literally like this little wire basket with a damn rope around their neck. And bro puts his phone in it. Like, really? Really? That's where we are? And the funny thing is that commercial, actually, I know what that is. That is a commercial about something for, what is it? Inventors. If you have an invention, contact us and we'll help you patent your idea. But that's the first thing that comes to mind when I think about commercials is all of the, not like the Billy Zay and, spray this on and your boat will float type, not those kind of infomercial commercials.
Phil Swift here.
Oh, yeah. Lord.
Not quite those commercials.
I love infomercials because they're entertaining.
Well, yeah, those are entertaining. But I mean, like the actual commercials where, and if you act right now, we'll include a second one for just the cost of shipping.
I miss that kind of stuff. Those are the only commercials I liked as a kid. It's like for send in your check or money order to whatever this address is, and we'll send you 3 VHS copies of Disney on Ice or whatever, right? You can get your Chia Pet now for only 5 easy payments of $9.99.
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like the as seen on TV.
What are those cakes that you can make within a cake? The cake with the cake mold.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't remember the damn name of it.
The cake with the cake mold?
Yeah, it's like a cake mold that lets you like layer your
like
cakes.
double layered cakes. It was like a dome.
Oh wow.
And you could like bake another cake to go inside of it, or you could like fill it with like frosting or something, or like a filling. So yeah. It was just an iconic commercial from back then. What about the Zoo books?
Oh, Zoo books.
Zoo books.
Zoo books were
my
awesome.
God. Spirograph. I remember Spirographs being on those kinds of commercials. It
Nat
looked
Geo
so cool.
Kids. Like you could get the weekly subscription to Nat Geo Kids. Better than Zoo books. I remember that.
Better than Zoo books.
Because Zoo books were like knockoff Nat Geo Kids, you know.
But
the only thing better was like the highlights. I don't know how the hell anybody ever gets signed up for highlights, but highlights were the greatest books ever for kids.
I like that style of advertising, that style of commercial, because it's to the point, and it doesn't really waste a lot of your time with stupid sketches. And I think that's the thing that I hate so much. It's stupid sketches, and it's people acting cringy. Some boomer was sitting around somewhere and thought this was the most hilarious idea ever, and they've always been out of touch and always been extremely cringy, and I just I can't stand it. Especially when they try and do things to like connect with certain demographics. Like there's one
fellow children.
No, there's one commercial where it's a setting with like vaguely Hispanic looking people. And some of them you can hear kind of speaking in Spanish, some are kind of speaking in English. And you had one person, I can't tell if she's supposed to look like the only white person there, but she looks like the only white person there. And like they're arguing about something, and she, in the middle of speaking just like this, you know, all of a sudden goes, tranquilo, in the most over the top Sophia Vergara, what's her name? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
accent.
Yeah,
Accent possible. And it's horrible. And then she goes right back to speaking just English with no accent.
Please tell me it was an advertisement for like Babbel or Rosetta Stone.
No, I vaguely remember what you're talking about. I just I can't place the
because that
product.
commercial is so bad. I don't even know what they're selling because it's so bad, and they're supposed to be connecting to what, the Latino demographic or whatever. Maybe I think what it is, it's supposed to connect with white people who think that they're hip with minorities. That's what it is.
No,
it's gotta be what it is. I know a Spanish word. Listen to how I pronounce it.
The greatest commercial ever to exist is the education connection. See, that white girl busting a rap about getting her degree, best commercial ever. There was actually made me want to enroll.
The creditreport.com as well.
I miss those guys.
There were certain commercials that were great. They were fire. And that's because, once again, they were informative.
The Geico
I don't really care for the Geico cavemen.
I thought they were funny.
I always hated Flo. Her sketches were cringy and stupid.
I get Flo. I get why Flo is supposed to be funny, because she is completely oblivious. And it just feels like Flo is just being her true and genuine self. Jamie is a little weird to me. Like, that's a little too try hard.
I don't know who Jamie is, but
he's the new guy.
The black guy.
No. He's that's a little
I'll think about State Farm. My bad. No.
Right.
Yeah, that's whenever Jake from State Farm got a huge overhaul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the new Jake from State Farm, you know, like.
And then State Farm tried to gaslight us into saying, no, this was always Jake from State Farm. What are you talking about?
Jake wasn't black before. What are you talking about?
Jake from State Farm sat at a desk and he wore khakis. And you know what? He sounded hideous because he was a guy. So
is that why they had to recast him?
Apparently. I guess.
I think he was just an actual regular employee that they used for it. They just needed someone for it real quick,
like for years, several years.
Well, like just for that one shot, they didn't know it was going to take off like that, and then they replaced him with oh god, what was
Black Jake?
No, I'm trying to. from White Chicks. What's the guy's name?
Sean and Marlon Wayans.
No.
Terry
Terry
Crews.
Crews?
Yes, but what was his character's name?
Big black football man. Like I don't know. I don't know what his name is.
Terrell. That's
Terrell
it.
or something. Yeah.
That's it. They changed Jake from State Farm to Terrell from State Farm, and it just.
I missed that one. But you know what? Probably because I've been on streaming services for so damn long, I missed that commercial.
I just can't believe they tried to gaslight us into thinking that was always Jake from State Farm. Like that was just funny.
Yeah. No, I'm totally okay. I believe that there is more than one guy named Jake who works for State Farm. I'm willing to accept that.
As someone who has had their name be attached to a meme they didn't like, I feel bad for Jake from State Farms that work at State Farms.
I almost did it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna
Don't do it.
I'm not.
No.
I'm not.
Because if that child was in front of me, oh Lord help him. Lord help him. I would smack an adult doing that to me, having that tone of voice
right
with me.
I could absolutely understand how that would be bothersome. It I get that. But again, I'm sure that anybody, and that's probably a really, really tired joke, because anybody who works for State Farm and their name, if it's a guy and his name is Jake, Jacob, anything along those lines, even the women whose name is like Jacqueline, they're probably getting the same jokes. And it's like, oh, are you Jake from State Farm? I could just see it, and it's like, wow, that's original. Never heard that one. As someone named Sam, yeah, I'm familiar with how the same joke being run into the ground. Thanks, Dr. Seuss. And it's the go-to for everybody right away. And so, yeah.
See, David wouldn't know how that is.
What are you talking about?
David's just David.
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
There's no David from State Farm. There's no sassy
but there's
child
American Idol winner David Cook.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You did have a David Cook.
No.
But that's the thing though. You had maybe a short instance of that, and then that was it.
To this day.
But more importantly, he was American Idol winner.
No one knows who David Cook is anymore.
Nah, you would think, but every time I get carded, they're like, like the American Idol guy? No. Not like the American Idol guy, okay? Just give me my beer and leave me alone.
See, that's when you have to be really specific. No, he spells his just with, I have an E. He has no E. It's totally different.
David is Cookie.
Make a big deal about how it's completely different because there's no E.
I'm thinking it would just be over by now, but apparently not. I just can't live a peaceful life.
I mean, it ain't like your name Fantasia or Ruben.
David,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh God.
I've told you, you and I need to come up with our own last name and change our names. Since I'm not taking your last name and we're married, I think it would make sense for us to make our own last name. Because neither one of us really care about carrying on the legacy of our family names.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let y'all figure that part out. We're gonna get to the second half of our
David,
show.
Feel free to be Garcia.
No.
Anyway,
so we're talking about another thing.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into this other part. And Linda, by chance, do you have that article available?
Oh God, I can find it again real quick. I didn't want to give them. I didn't want to link it. I just wanted to screenshot it for you guys because I didn't want to give them any extra clicks.
Right. I mean, screenshot. Like, if you have it, don't post the link. I will.
No, I mean like before when I was showing you guys.
Did you put it in our chat?
I just put the. Hold on. Let's see.
I remember the discussion. I don't remember seeing the link.
Nope, I just screenshotted it. I didn't put the link in there.
Okay, no, that's fine. I can show that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let me.
I have the article pull up. They get one click out of this. That's it. Just so I can tear them apart.
Fair enough. And that's why I was like, I wanted to pull that up, and I thought it was there.
Sit here, eat my cucumbers.
Here we go. So this is what prompted. Well, this is actually two parts. Because one, I wanted you all to get a chance to give your own Five Nights at Freddy's review. Since you all were able to attend with me, and you all had much more to say about it, and possibly, well, I feel like you all would have better reviews for it than I gave. I still gave it a good review. It's still a positive. I was certainly entertained. I put it at a 5.75, like it was just under, like a 5.9. It's just under a 6. It's a solid movie, and what I'm saying, I was definitely entertained, and I need anybody who's interested to see the movie to go and see the movie and support it, because it did not suck. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not what you think it's going to be as far as like not comic, but like video game movies and stuff like that. There is a solid story. It is right there, and it's easy to follow. So, I mean, you can certainly enjoy it. It had the right amount of scare in it. It had some humorous jump scares that made sense. And there were some parts of it that were like, okay, eye rolling, but all in all, no, I thought it was, I thought it was enjoyable, and it passed the watch test, I thought that people should see. Denisha gave her opinion. She gave it a solid 6, said she was not expecting anything from it, knew nothing about it, and she was able to sit through it and enjoyed it. And, we both had some positives for it. But this is the other part of what prompts a second review on Five Nights at Freddy, a part 2. We actually did a why did I watch that on this movie, Willy's Wonderland.
Oh, do we want to talk about mine and David's reviews on it first before we get into this part?
We can. This is the other part of why we're bringing up Five Nights at Freddy's. There was a discussion basically comparing the Nicolas Cage horror film from 2 years ago using animatronics, which I don't think that is accurate, which is
quote unquote animatronics.
Right. Like,
dudes in suits, let's go, baby.
Like, first of all, let's shame on Screen Rant doing clickbait, because it wasn't animatronics. And they did it before Five Nights at Freddy and did it better. Just want to point out that the Nicolas Cage movie came out 2 years ago. So obviously they did it before.
Well, the game did it in 2016. Or no, 2014. NAF. The game.
Right. Well, the game didn't make a movie, so that they are making a comparison.
Yet, but the movie wasn't. That's what's so stupid about this article. That's one of the many things that's stupid about this article.
That is literally the point I'm making, that the Nicolas Cage movie came out first. So obviously it would have done it before Five Nights at Freddy that just came out. So it was quite interesting that was how they began trying to make their point. But we're going to dive into that a little bit later. We'll come back and we'll revisit that here in just a bit. Who would like to go first in their review? Who has what to say?
Go ahead, Linda. Go ahead.
I figured we would let you go first, get it out the way, and give her the floor.
All right. Well, really, it's just like it's a movie. It's a movie. Like it's a good movie. I had fun. I enjoyed it. I did not expect it to be the pillar of like horror movie like
wasn't looking for Oscar performances. You're saying?
I wasn't looking for a Kubrick movie.
Okay.
I was looking for dumb jump scares and a silly plot, which was kind of a silly plot, but still.
Honestly, I give a little bit more credit to the plot than I had going in, because like my base understanding for what Five Nights at Freddy's, admittedly, the show that we did before we went to the movie was very, very helpful. Had I not gone in with that, I probably would have enjoyed it less. So having that base understanding, because it clarified a lot of what I thought I knew, and what I thought I knew was wrong. So getting that clarity was better. But I think somebody who knew nothing of Five Nights at Freddy's would have gone in and had a better time than someone who went in misinformed. So that's why I will say that everything that you shared with me, everything that you and Linda shared with me prior to the movie was very helpful in allowing me to be a little bit more versed in knowing what I was going to see. Not exactly what I thought it was going to be still,
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised at the end of it.
So
As you said, it was a movie I was entertained.
So there is one thing that kind of bothers me about it, and it kind of bothers me about like every video game inspired movie or adaptation into a movie. People expect it to actually be like a one-to-one translation of a game, or it seems like that's what they want. I'm not gonna say that's what they want, but you're not going to get that with these kind of movies. Like there has to be a beginning, there has to be like a greater conflict, there has to be an end to it. You like, and if you want this movie to be just like the first FNAF game, you want us to have a dude sitting in the security office for fucking 6 hours looking at a monitor and trying to play hide and seek with 4 murderous animatronics. You're wild. That's not fun. That's fun to play. It's not fun to watch.
I was gonna say, if that's what you want, you should probably go to the game, not to the theater. But we discuss that a lot here, where we talk about the difference in, based on, inspired by, and what would appear to be the misunderstanding of those phrases, and why you don't always get a direct one-to-one translation of things, because some stuff you have to make it make sense, and some things would not make sense without that context. So yeah, but I could see why that would be. I think that's a very valid issue to have. I don't think that's an issue with Five Nights at Freddy's, or that's an issue with movies in general, because that happens on every video game, most of the comic book movies, and let any movie be based on a book. You're always going to have people who like bitch and complain, well, the movie was bad. Like, you can't do everything in a book that you can do in a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, or vice versa. You can't do everything in a movie that you could do in a book, because in a book you have 15 pages to explain that color and what the person felt because they looked at that color. You got like 30 seconds of screen time to get that feeling out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's a very valid concern. And I think that carries on for a lot of media, not just the Five Nights at Freddy's movies, but it would definitely seem that it would be something that would have come up quite quickly here. As far as the understood lore and the what's the phrase? The scope of the series, do you think they did a good job covering that and adapting that into this movie?
Yes and no. It's a weird kind of compromise that I think they made there, and then
like a good start.
It's a good start. Like, they're definitely trying to do like a new continuity thing, or
No,
not necessarily a continuity thing.
I want to butt in real quick and just say that some of the biggest differences in mine and David's opinions. I've read the books multiple times, and David has not read the books at all. And that's going to come into play in the discussion of this, which David and I have talked about a little bit already.
Well, why don't you go ahead and take over, because that's pretty much all I had.
Okay.
So, first things first, the movie seems like it's following the storyline of the books. Of the of like the Silver Eyes, especially when it comes to the scenes at the end where the animatronics drag him off. That is literally like, because they did an illustrated version of the novels as well. It is literally shot for shot. Yes, it is shot for shot the same between the movie and the graphic novel. So you actually might be interested in those if you want to. I forgot.
Well, you said like, oh, let me.
I forgot they had. I forgot they had illustrated books for it.
I need books with pictures.
So I don't feel bad. I listened to the books, but that was also when I had a lot of driving to do.
See, and that's the one thing I miss. I do honestly miss my Audible subscription, simply for being able to like listen to so many books. But continue.
So I don't know. So just some information about it, just to start, just to give you an idea of like how well this movie has done. It has shattered a few different records. It was the best opening weekend for a horror film in 2023. The Blumhouse's best opening period, which topped the last one they did was Halloween, was at 76.2 million. FNAF did, let's see, the opening weekend. For the first day, they did $39.4 million in their first day. And that includes 10.3 million from Thursday night previews. And then it ended up hitting 80 million for just the opening weekend, and has the second best day and date opening weekend ever. It is slightly behind Black Widow, which was 80.3 million in 2021. Which, as you recall, people that worked on, I don't know which one was Black Widow. No, am I thinking of? No, that's the thing with the chick. Remember there was issues with that. They were like, oh, this movie should have been so much bigger, but the weekend was stifled because it was also on streaming. Okay, clearly it wasn't that big of an issue if it was number one in this rating. Like, so shut up. And we see how well FNAF did and still was behind that. Come on. Anyway.
Now I don't want to get in here and defend Black Widow, but I will.
I've never really cared for Black Widow.
I know.
I've heard, I heard, I forget who it is, but I heard they had a different actress lined up for playing her originally, and I would have loved her instead.
Emily Blunt.
Yeah, Emily Blunt would have been amazing.
Emily Blunt would have no.
I think she would have been much better than the one we got stuck with. But
nope, I think Scarlett Johansson did a fantastic job as that character because of who that character is supposed to be, and it worked for that. And I think the biggest drawback to that being on streaming and being in the theater at the same time is the difference in time. We were literally just post-COVID when Black Widow was released in theaters. We were literally just things had just opened back up and people were starting to be able to go outside. Theaters were now opening back up and allowing people into the theaters. You know what was actually really big at the time? Space Jam. And kids were able to go out and see Space Jam, and parents were able to get their kids out the house for the first time in a long time and do something other than be stuck at damn home. And it released the same time as Space Jam. Space Jam was also it came to streaming sometime later. You know what I'm saying? I would
have been so disappointed if that was my first movie I saw in theaters after so long with Space Jam 2.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, are you kidding me?
I promise you, the very first thing, and that was one of the movies Celeste and I, when we went out, it was like, hey, we were happy to get out. We went out, we did it big. We went down to the Atlantic Station. We made it a whole date night. We were happy to get out the house, happy to do something. And we went to go see a movie. We went to go see Black Widow, and I was excited. And the movie, the movie was. It was a movie, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like the pinnacle of cinema or even the pinnacle of the MCU. It was a solid movie that should have come out years before, as it would have had more impact for the character arc and the growth and development, blah, 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 blah. A lot that can be said about that part. But as it relates to the streaming part and in comparison to the records, the only thing I will say is that we were not outside like that when that came out in theaters.
No, that's what I'm saying is it still did really well.
And I'm not taking
there was complaints that it didn't do well, but it did do very well. So it could have done better, maybe,
right?
But it still did very well.
Yeah, and Five Nights at Freddy's is I am impressed. I am impressed to hear that it did as well,
right?
Because I genuinely expected a lot more people were going to just stream this and not be in theaters to see it. So to hear that it did those kind of numbers,
you underestimate FNAF fans.
Yeah. No, and that is
on
what I'm
top
saying.
Of it,
I'm very.
If you look at it, you look at how old FNAF is, right? It's almost 10 years old at this point. So think about the demographic of the main demographic that really loved Five Nights at Freddy's back when it was first out.
They're 20.
They were like, teenagers, right? So you had your preteens. Now they're in their either late teens, early 20s. This is what they do now. They hang out with friends. They go see movies. They're not going to stay in and stream this, especially if it's something that they've really, really enjoyed. And people who are FNAF fans usually are FNAF fans. You know, they.
Right.
But I will tell you, the people that like and don't like this film, or depending on the kind of nitpicks that you have with it, that's how you can pick out who has read the books and who has not. And I'm not trying to say that as like a superiority thing. I'm saying that as just like literally as an observation. Because on top of it, it's not just that you're picking out, oh, this is going off the books or more similar to the books than the actual games, but you're already used to the fact that there's multiple canons, and you went into this movie knowing that there's a possibility that this is going to be a separate canon altogether. So you don't have that expectation that it's going to be exactly like the book or exactly like the movie. It's almost going into it as an exciting thing of, are we going to get a new timeline? Are we going to get a new mystery? And, you know, are there going to be things related in this, if it's a new canon, that are going to answer questions in other timelines? Because there's things like the box at the end of the 4th game, which we never found out what was in the box. Never found out. And guess what? The box was in the movie. The box, it was very unassuming, but it looks almost identical to the box in the game.
I was like, what do you mean the box is in the movie? And then she was like,
yes, it's behind dude's head whenever he's talking to him to get a job. He's sitting there at his desk, Mr. Afton, and then over his left shoulder is a little brown box on a shelf behind him.
Well, apparently, and let me slap the spoiler warning up there. Apparently, in one of the training videos, you get to see dude right there then. And I missed that when you see our guy watching the training video. Denisha pointed this out, and she was saying that she, like, we were talking about how quote unquote predictable certain things were. I figured out that the police lady was gonna end up being related to the bad guy before she revealed it. That was obvious. What was not obvious, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it, although now, like in retrospect, I'm kind of kicking myself. And even in theater, I was like, of course. When we get the reveal of who the main villain is, we see that he's the same person that's, we see him earlier in the movie, and you're like, oh damn, it was him. There was
that was also kind of spoiled before the movie came out too. We figured out who who Matthew Lillard was playing, and that it was going to be Michael Afton, or not like Michael Afton, William Afton.
Right. I mean, it was one of those things like that is a big enough name in horror movies that I knew his character was a big deal, which is why it was kind of a disappointment that I didn't put 2 and 2 together sooner.
They had a Scream reference in there too.
I think I might have caught that.
It was where he was wiping the knife off.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That I do remember. But what threw me off is Denisha says that you can actually see him in one of the training videos.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that would be a clue that he was that person. He was involved there. Like, he's working on the Springtrap animatronic in the training video. And so that's how, like, when you see the yellow rabbit, you kind of already know who it is and who it's going to be. So when he finally reveals, takes a helmet off, and you're like, oh, wow, it's him. And then, like I said, if you're like me, you've been trying to piece the whole thing together the whole time, and you're like, damn, how did I miss that? And then everybody else is like, oh, I knew it was going to be him. And so, see, that would suck to have that spoiled before you go in, because you kind of need that little plot twist there. But it was a giveaway, and that's why I was mad I didn't catch it. When he was looking at the folder and he says his name, but he doesn't say his last name, that was kind of a clue that he knew who he was, but not in the reverse.
Now, that's something that the fans are still mulling over as to who Mike is, because in the games and in the books and everything, it's Michael Afton. He's Michael Afton. So in the game he's known as Mike Schmidt, right? But people have put 2 and 2 together that it was either a fake name or whatever, right?
Right.
So that's what we're trying to figure out. And that's what everyone's like, oh, well, I'm not sure. Like, what is it? So people have been going back and forth as far as that goes. Now, going back to the budget and the box office and everything, this movie only had a budget of 20 million. I say only 20 million.
Right. I'm like,
so far at the
I'd
box
make a
office,
movie for 20 million.
it's made 222.7 million.
Wow.
Yeah. That's insane.
My nightstand. Good.
But it's but yeah, that's crazy to me. But yeah, so I'm excited to see what the next movie will bring, because they're gonna do a next movie. They did a whole thing at the very end of the movie. They played the music box melody for the puppet, or the marionette, however you want to say, puppet, marionette, same thing. And then the letters that were spelled out at the end, the "come find me,"
right?
That's also the puppet or the marionette. It sounds exactly like the voice that she used in the games. The marionette is a she. In the games, and I think the books is not in the books.
Is the marionette?
I don't think so. But the marionette is Charlie, who is Michael, or is William Afton's business partner's daughter. So what had happened?
That dude.
You had Henry. Henry Emily was his business partner, and whenever, so Henry had kind of an idea that William was behind some of these things, so he built this marionette puppet to essentially stalk his daughter and make sure she stays safe, because she has to be in and around the restaurant, because that's where they all work, So at one point she gets locked out in the back alley behind the restaurant, and that's where William takes advantage and kills her. And the puppet, realizing something's wrong, makes its way out and finds her in the alley, and her spirit latches onto it, and so she possesses the puppet, or the marionette. And her soul is eventually released whenever Henry devises the whole thing at the end of Pizzeria Simulator to lock everyone into one building and burn everything. And it also releases his daughter's soul, and he knows his daughter is trapped in the puppet. That's like part of his speech he gives at the end of the game.
I love all of the different genres that this series covers. Like, I'm not giving enough credit to this creation, because this is science fiction. This is horror. This is serial killer Dateline-esque murder mystery.
True crime.
Right. Like,
mystery,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This thing covers so much, because somebody's a serial killer in the building. You got to figure out who. You made an animatronic robot to follow your daughter. That's AI. That's some damn impressive programming.
Oh, they've got devices built into these things that, for certain animatronics, that create a frequency that alters what they look like to other people that are hearing the frequency, so they can disguise themselves. That's in the books. That's so I'm wondering.
I found a complete set for $37. I found the complete set here for $37.
That's not just in the trilogy, but it's also in the Fazbear Frights books. So that's technology, quote unquote, that's used in that as well.
So so this
they've also got Freddy. I'm not going to get started on the Freddy Fazgoo, because that's where it goes a little off the rails for me. But yeah,
a little TV MA right there.
No, you heard correctly.
No,
you heard exactly. She said what she said. She told me about that. I was like,
it's Fazgoo. So this
No, we good.
showed
I
up
don't even
in
need. I don't even need. So
this,
the
this
people
showed
that
up
read
in
the
2
books,
different Fazbear Fright books, and it's used. It's a pink slimy substance
and you're still
that's
explaining it.
that's contained in a vial as a part of Freddy Fazbear Mad Scientist Kit. In in the protagonist's experiment, the goo slowly morphs into a humanoid shape with translucent pink skin and bags of organs. Eventually, it forms into a perfect copy of the protagonist with his clothes, while the original protagonist turns into a blob. So the experiment was, and this is done at school. It's part of like an AP science class or something like that.
Right.
And the guy sets everyone up in their own little cubicles so that no one can, like, they have privacy, and they're supposed to give like some like skin cells or whatever, some hair, whatever, to the Freddy Fazgoo, right? To the Fazgoo, and then just like wait. And they're waiting because something happens with the Fazgoo and with them giving of it. I forget, I don't think it was just giving him hair. I forget what it is exactly. Oh, there it is. It says the user is to remove a tooth and place it into the Fazgoo, which makes the tooth believe it is still a part of you. Then the user places their finger into the dish. The red blood cells are extracted from their body to feed the Fazgoo. Finally, the tooth will grow into a full mouth to tell the user something that they will never forget. The mouth will then die, and then the user will dispose of it in a biohazard bag. However, that is not what happens. It turns into a copy, and they turn into a little pile of goo instead.
Right.
Why? I don't know.
Okay. That's a lot. Oof.
That's not even the wildest shit.
That's not. There's another story where a girl eats an older
So the
sister
movie
has a younger sister. I'm gonna do it real quick. Older
Whoa.
sister has a younger sister, goes to Freddy Fazbear for a younger sister's birthday party. Younger sister is like the perfect spoiled younger sister, whatever, right? She can do no wrong. The parents give her whatever she wants. They kind of neglect the older sister. So, at the younger sister's birthday party, they bring in this like life-size like mannequin of like a woman made out of candy, right? Like a candy woman.
Okay.
And she's got a little gumdrop nose. And the Freddy Fazbear worker was very adamant that the gumdrop nose is for the birthday girl only. So they wanted her to eat it there in the restaurant. She was full. She had a tummy ache, whatever, didn't want to eat it. So they boxed it up for her to take home. Out of spite, the older sister eats the gumdrop.
That was only for the younger sister.
That was only for the younger sister. And she ends up turning slowly into candy herself. Somehow, like, she goes back to Freddy's to figure out what's going on. And next thing she knows, she wakes up in like a box. And then she hears what sounds like a children's party. And she's still alive inside. But then, like, her little box is open and it's revealed she's being presented to another birthday party. And she is completely made out of candy while these other kids are eating her slowly because she's made of candy.
Yeah, nah.
Anyway, yeah.
But see, if she had just left the candy alone,
yeah,
it would have gone to the other sister, and the other sister would have been the one.
These are from the Fazbear Frights, which, like I've said before in the past, are similar to like Goosebumps.
I was about to say, these are the short stories, right?
These are the short stories where it has like, at the end of each of the books, it has like another piece of like a longer story.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's the one I was saying would have made like a really good movie. Or like a little TV show or something. But anyway.
I mean, we were talking about streaming services. I could absolutely see the Fazbear Frights getting a Netflix special. And, you know, like the movie did really well. People are obviously hip to it. And I feel like anybody who saw the movie would be a kid, you know, would be keen to be like, you know what? I'd check out some more of that. Like, I would absolutely watch
Now,
a sequel, and I'm not a
there
horror movie person.
the
I'm slowly
Fazbear
becoming one.
Frights, I couldn't see them turning the main Fazbear Fright stories into a miniseries unless they left out quite a bit, because they do get kind of gory and graphic. Where it's okay, I guess, if a kid
Amazon
reads about
Prime,
it,
baby.
but
Because Amazon Prime got Invincible, The Boys, and Gen V. They clearly gives no
well,
fucks about the gore.
but what I mean though is that because they are trying to keep it like with the movie, they kept it PG-13. They absolutely could have added more and made it rated R. And even then, the PG-13 was kind of pushing it, considering at least the one or a couple of the scenes where the one with where everyone screamed out, "Is that the bite of 87?" If you guys have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. She got about 87% bit off. That was not necessarily the bite of 87. The other scene was whenever it shows the bodies later, and you can really see the face of the person who got mauled by Cupcake. So, and, little gory, little much, for kids. And if they were to adapt the Fazbear Frights books into TV shows, they would either have to censor a lot, be extremely tactical on how they present things, or just cut things entirely, or change them entirely. I don't know.
I mean, you'd be surprised how much implied violence. Because let me tell you something. I didn't need to see dude's face when I saw Cupcake. I knew what happened there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what the result was going to be, because we didn't see that dude no more, which means he's died. And I apologize for any listeners for the description I'm about to provide. I can only imagine how much of a person's face has to be eaten off for them to die from it. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, as I'm an avid watcher of The Boys and Gen V, hell, take John Wick. People are getting kind of used to seeing some, like when I tell you heads just be popping.
Now you say people, but I'm talking kids. Because
Right,
despite the fact that I don't think FNAF is necessarily for like young kids, I do understand they're going to watch it regardless, or they're going to play it regardless.
And that's what I'm saying. It would not be difficult to get away with a lot of the implied violence. You make the sounds, you can still make the squishy sounds and splatter some blood across the wall over there without shooting it.
And it could be they can get away with just doing a full send, and if they don't watch what their kids are watching, then that's the parents' fault. So I don't think that like GTA should necessarily turn anything down because kids happen to like the game. It's not GTA's fault. They don't make it for the kids.
I mean, I will say that as for every kid that I denied getting GTA, I would also let the parents know that all of the stuff he said you can do, you absolutely can do in the game. I don't know your kid, and I don't want to judge your kid. Maybe he's not going to just run around and, spend all his time in the strip club and murdering prostitutes. But you need to know that that's in there. Now, if he's going to do what he says he's going to do, he's going to play it, and he knows the story. Hey, it's a great game. I don't want to take it away from him. It's a great game.
I will say, despite the sexual content and all that, and like they're doing the stuff with the hookers and all that, the amount of violence and sexual content, the not just normal cursing, but they go a little over the top for their colorful cursing. Like if the kid was just playing online, I don't think that would be quite as bad. I like personally, if I had like a child, I would not let like a kid under the age of like 15, maybe 16 to play that game. So like if I had a 14-year-old, I'd be like, nah, I'll get you the game at like 15, 16. We'll see how your maturity is by then.
Right.
It's a little much. And even then, like if they're playing like online, like because they're interacting with God knows who, you have to be almost even more careful. Then, it's almost a thing of like, do you feel like putting in the extra effort to monitor your child while they play this game? If not, then you probably shouldn't let them play the game, that specific kind of game, until they're older, no matter how much they cry, scream, and beg.
Yeah.
Now, I would also sit down and try and have like some sort of a conversation with them and explain exactly why, but that's, Anyway, so back to FNAF. If we wanted to move on to that stupid article, we can.
Okay. So, first off, there is a why did I watch that episode of Five Nights at why did I watch that Willy's Wonderland starring Nicolas Cage? Absolutely qualifies for why the hell did I watch this movie. I give a full breakdown and all of my thoughts and just the entire what the fuck is this? That is Willy's Wonderland. I don't think the movie. I read something along the lines of like people were trying to pretend that the writer or the director was like, no, this has nothing to do with Five Nights at Freddy's. When
Yeah.
bruh. Because let me tell you, if he gets away with that and people believe that, let me tell you about this great superhero I know that's like super strong and has all these amazing powers, and he gets his power from the sun. I got this great idea.
And it's totally original.
If y'all believe in that Willy's Wonderland, they have nothing to do with Five Nights at Freddy. I want you to invest into this idea I got. But Willy's Wonderland, it came out in 2021, and I had a full-on why did I watch that movie review. It was actually one of the higher rated movies we've done. It got a 61 on Rotten Tomatoes, but we were in a tailspin for Nicolas Cage, and I had never seen it, and so I said I would check that one out. Not the worst thing we've watched. It was definitely not a Titanic. Willy's Wonderland. I made it through the movie. Didn't turn it off.
It wasn't as bad as the Bird movie. What are you talking about?
Like
Birdemic showed us how to fend ourselves from a bird attack.
I mean, as long as you got a coat hanger, you safe.
Just keep your coat hanger near.
Either that or one of your unlimited ammo pistols or rifles. like all the video game cheat codes were turned on. Anyway, oh my God. Go check out the why did I watch that Willy's Wonderland. But today we're going to talk about the comparison, the direct comparison, because Screen Rant had the audacity
to exist.
I mean, they hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? Like everything they say.
They seem very Kotaku-ish.
Everything they say ain't wrong. You know what? Their articles are crap. Watch their videos. The videos are much more informed because it's usually not opinion pieces. It's usually just like facts and stuff like that. But
see, why would I want to know the opinion of just some random person? Like, give me facts. Let me know like news or whatever. Like, why should I care about this rando's opinion? Then why should they care about my opinion? Because my opinion is right compared to theirs. But that's no, they actually state things that are like actually false if you take 2 seconds to do any research.
And I agree with that. And even the opening caption right here in itself says it so I don't know.
The Nicolas Cage horror movie from 2 years ago used animatronics before Five Nights at Freddy's and did it better. Okay, you know who did animatronics and did it better before Willy's Wonderland? The Banana Splits movie.
Basically, any other movie that involves Jen Henson's Creature Shop.
Well, see, and on top of it, Banana Splits movie is also a horror movie with murderous animatronics.
Is it? I thought the Banana Splits were like a happy-go-lucky.
No, not this one. It's a comedy horror. But this is the thing. I would have been less offended if this compared Willy's Wonderland with Banana Splits movie. Why? Because they're both comedy horrors.
Okay.
So look at just the little snippet in the caption. The Nicolas Cage film has more realistic animatronic movements, which we'll get to that in a second. Double the animatronic villains. Okay, so they went for quantity and not quality. And focuses more on humor. Guess what Five Nights at Freddy's is not? A comedy. It has never been a comedy. None of the books, movies, spin-off things, nothing about FNAF has ever been a comedy. Do they have little jokes here and there in the books? Maybe, but that's to build the stories up until the scary parts. It is not a comedy. It's never been a comedy. It'll never be a comedy. So why do we care that this other movie that is a comedy had more humor in it? Now, there's that. The more realistic animatronic movements. You got some randos in furry suits and just literally Tinkerbell in a mask, like Great Value Wish.com Tinkerbell.
Yeah, creepy looking Tinkerbell, no less.
But very obviously just a chick dressed up. Not even like you
with
can
the
see
paper mache head.
Yes, you can see her skin on her neck. They didn't even bother covering that. And she's just wearing a bodysuit for the rest of it.
Yeah.
Like, it is so obvious.
I mean, the
Like,
comparison in this case, when they talked about the animatronics, I mean, if you look at just that image there, these are big suits that people are wearing.
Yeah.
That is literally like making the comparison and saying that Power Rangers has better, like the guy that's in the Megazord fighting against the Green Dragon. They had better animatronics than the latest Power Rangers movie where they made the Megazord there. And I don't even think that we had the Megazord in that one, but
like,
it's just
these are very clearly like that. That being said, the FNAF suits, I believe could be worn like by the puppeteers, except for Foxy, because Foxy doesn't have legs and is too skinny of an animatronic.
Yeah, it's like mostly hollow.
Yeah. But like you watch, they look like animatronics, the way they move, the way, like, there's all kinds of videos and TikToks of behind the scenes stuff too, where they're just they're doing shit for fun.
They literally look like the animatronics that would be commissioned by a Billy Bob's, a Sergeant Singer's, a Chuck E. Cheese. They are that kind of animatronic. Whereas the things in Willy's Wonderland, that is like the gorilla suit. Like literally what's on the screen right here. That is just a gorilla suit with some robotic eyes. If that's the case, then I'm going to tell them.
And
Spider-Man Homecoming did it even better with the animatronic eyes and a person in a suit. Now what? Your move, Screen Rant. Like, I mean,
and as far as the movement, so we can get off the Great Value Tinkerbell, right? With the movement of the other quote unquote animatronics, it literally just looked like people trying to move like robots, but it was obvious. Like it
not
was
even good robots, because there are like the Les Twins are dancers out there who absolutely could have done the robot better. There's like I follow somebody on TikTok, and this man like is the best dancer who does the robot and ticks better than anybody else. So they could have put forth the effort to find somebody if they wanted to. But you know what? We got Nick Cage. People gonna see it regardless. Let's just do the thing.
So
and ultimately, I think that's all it comes down to. Nicolas Cage was a selling point for Willy's Wonderland. It had nothing to do with the movie being any good, because let me tell you something. This is Willy's Wonderland is Nicolas Cage and all his Nicolas Cage-ness. Like, if you're one of those people who gets off on watching Nicolas Cage be weird, that is a perfect vehicle for him to go and be.
And like
freaking, they didn't even need him in the movie for what he did, but
like we established like earlier, Willy's Wonderland is a great movie in and of itself, right? It is a great like movie, no comparison, whatever. It's fun to watch. I've actually watched it more than once, and that's a big thing. I don't like rewatching things. A lot of things I don't like to rewatch unless it's like one of my weird like TV show kind of things. But like movies and stuff, I don't typically rewatch. I'll rewatch FNAF. Like I don't know if it's a joke or not, but I'm hoping it's not. Supposedly there's gonna be a 4-hour long lore cut. But that might be that might just been a joke. I hope it's not. I hope they come out with a 4-hour long lore cut. I will devour that and ask for more. But yeah, so I was thinking about this earlier today. I had a good comparison for FNAF as far as for like for people who didn't like it. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to gather my thoughts for this. So I was making a comparison to like Silent Hill. The Silent Hill movie was a great horror movie, but it was a horrible Silent Hill movie.
Gotcha.
Right?
Right.
The FNAF movie was a great FNAF movie, but an okay horror movie.
Okay.
I think that's the best way I can put it.
No, I'm with that.
So if you go in there and you're just looking for a horror movie, you don't care about anything else outside of it, you're going to be like, okay, like it's like a horror movie for kids, essentially, like an intro to horror, almost. Whereas if you're
pre-horror,
yeah.
Not even intro to horror. This is horror 1. You advance and you do well with this. You might even be able to get up to
one. Yeah.
You can get up to advanced horror.
Yeah. This is your pre-horror. But yeah, it was a very fun FNAF movie, and honestly, we won't know exactly how good it was until we get some age on the movie, for a few different reasons. Number one, people are still picking out things from the movie, like little Easter eggs and like little like lore pieces. And we'll continue to people will continue to find more and more. We'll end up getting even more of that. We'll be picking over it again, if we do get any kind of behind the scene releases or extended cuts. And then if the second movie that comes out eventually, because I'm telling you there's going to be a second and third movie, most likely, depending on how that story is told and what it calls back to or refers back to in the first one, is going to tell you how how the first movie is going to be altogether. So I don't even think, I mean, I'm getting a little deep with it, but I don't really think that we'll truly know exactly how good and or bad this movie is until we see where they're going with this. Because so far, I am looking forward to how they're setting things up. Because like I said before, as a big FNAF fan who has read the books, who has played the games and all that, I wouldn't want to watch it necessarily if it's the exact same thing. I like that it's a little more than just Five Nights at Freddy's flavored. Whereas like the Silent Hill movie was Silent Hill flavored, but it was watered down way too much. Where the FNAF movie is packed full of FNAF punch with some carbonation to make it bubbly.
I like that description. I'm gonna, you know what? That is I'm using that from now on. That's how I'm gonna describe things.
But it's good, and we'll see if it stays bubbly or if it falls flat when the next movie comes out, or even the second and the third movie comes out. So we see where they're going with this. But yeah, so I'm reading through the stupid article on here, and I found the snippet where they pulled the caption on the screenshot, and they cut it off. So it's not the full snippet. So on here, the thing, it says Nicolas Cage film has more realistic animatronic movements, double the animatronic villains, and focuses more on humor compared to Five Nights at Freddy's. And on the article, it continues, which is a straightforward supernatural horror film. So they acknowledge that FNAF is not a comedy, and they're still going to be like, oh, that's like saying, oh, you know what? This chocolate pie was really, really good, but you know what? It's not calamari. And there's not enough calamari in my chocolate pie. This fried calamari has calamari in it, real calamari. This chocolate pie doesn't have any calamari in it.
So it's more. It did calamari better than chocolate pie. Chocolate
Right?
pie shouldn't even be up here.
So yeah, it's just like the possessed animatronics as well. Like it's a different kind of possession thing. And like the Willy's Wonderland, it's such an interesting premise, but it's different. It's like the animatronics are actually evil, whereas the animatronics in FNAF are more just confused and victims. So they're not actual they're not actual cult members with a cannibalistic leader. Like but yeah, no, it's this is let's see.
I'm looking for I'm trying to find the post and
okay, no, I got to the part where it says Willy's Wonderland is much better animatronic action than Five Nights at Freddy's with more realistic animatronic movements. Willy's Wonderland has twice as many animatronic villains. In Five Nights at Freddy's, Mike Schmidt is terrorized by only 4 animatronic characters. They got that wrong too. It's 5. Technically 6 if you count the cupcake. Because they said it's Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy. There's also Golden Freddy, who I guess doesn't technically appear to Mike Schmidt, but he's there. He is in the movie. And then the cupcake is its own animatronic as well. And arguably more difficult because it has to be fully puppeteered. You cannot just stick someone inside of it.
Yeah.
It says in Willy's Wonderland, Nicolas Cage is terrorized by 8. I love how they
forget the entire cast that was actually in, because Nicolas Cage at no point was ever really terrorized by the animatronics. It was the teenagers who broke in and didn't know he was it. Like they clearly didn't want. Okay, go ahead, continue.
So this says not only does Willy's Wonderland have twice as many animatronic villains, it also puts more emphasis on the humor. There's no humor to put emphasis on. In fact, there's no calamari in my chocolate pie. I don't want calamari in my chocolate pie.
Right.
That's sounding a little dirty.
You know what? I mean, what time
I've
is it? We good. We good. It's gag after dark. It's after 11. We good. No, but honestly, I will say
and
that
then it continues the next sentence. Five Nights at Freddy's is a straightforward supernatural horror film, but Willy's Wonderland is a full-blown slapstick comedy. So you are recognizing that they are 2 different types of movies, and you're still harping on one of them for not being a comedy. You are saying this one is a comedy movie. This is not a comedy movie. Shame on this one for not having comedy. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, again, we acknowledge, and that's why we didn't want to click on it again today. We just want to use the screenshot because we acknowledge that they recognize it's clickbait and this is an opinion piece. This is clearly somebody, and Jeffrey has talked about this on many episodes. When some of these people go out to do movie reviews, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't truly understand what a movie review is. Oftentimes, their concept of a movie review is telling you what I did or didn't like. An opinion piece like that is not the same as saying, here's what this movie is about. This is what it tried to accomplish. This is where it succeeded, and this is where it failed. It did a good job in delivering this, that. It did a bad job in conveying this and this. That is a movie review. And opinionated, and you know what I'm saying? And it's like to all the Roger Eberts of the world out there, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's nothing wrong with people having their opinions. Some opinions you can trust, some opinions you can't trust. You have to find out what a person likes. And if their opinion aligns with yours, then you can listen to what they have to say. If I'm going to watch a scary movie, I'm going to listen to what Linda has to say, someone who likes scary movies. I'm going to listen truthfully, and don't take this the wrong way. Just trust me. Like, let me get there. I'm going to listen to David on a scary movie because David doesn't really like scary movies, but he watches scary movies. So if David likes the scary movie, that means I will probably like the scary movie. Linda probably likes the scary movie to start because it's a scary movie.
But there's
Ergo,
no calamari
Celeste will probably like the scary movie because it's a scary movie. But I have a hard time getting her to like watch comedy with me. She doesn't like comedies.
So
I love comedies.
She doesn't like
I will,
calamari then.
right. You know what I'm saying? Like all I want is the chocolate pie. I hate calamari.
No. You like the calamari. She likes the chocolate pie. Because
like
FNAF was the chocolate pie.
Oh, FNAF was the chocolate pie? Okay,
Yes.
I thought we said, yeah.
Because we kept trying to put calamari into my chocolate pie.
Got you. That's see, we have to switch that because Celeste is the one that eats the calamari and would probably not touch a chocolate pie. But nonetheless, well, that's not accurate. But nonetheless,
it works for me and David though, because David and I will both consume calamari, but only I like chocolate pie.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
So then it all works out. It all makes sense. But yeah, it's
that's probably why I went that way.
and that actually, like, now that you have context, see, you get it. It makes perfect sense now. I don't know when it's all said and done.
Unlike that article,
I'm going to trust the opinion of those who are a little bit more knowledgeable about certain things. Like Shay gave this movie a thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to trust Shay when it comes to. For those who need context, Shay is a friend of mine who used to like run a movie theater. He's an avid movie watcher, and he loves the horror genre. If Shay gives a horror movie a thumbs up, that shit is scary, and I'm probably not gonna watch it. He actually said this one was a decent movie, and one of the things he actually complimented was the story. He did mention that the story was decent, and that so right away I was like, okay, cool. That means there's something to watch. It's not just seeing people try to survive. Like there's something there. And that has to be there for me. We just watched Fall of the House of Usher. I was all in. I was excited, wanted to go to the next episode.
I do need to watch that. I haven't seen it still.
So
good. My mom just got through watching it, and I'm like, I need to watch it too. But
it's one of those things where like just because of the genre it falls under, probably wouldn't have been at the top of my list. But because I've watched everything else they've done, Midnight Mass, damn it, that was the one I was looking for earlier.
Midnight Mass is really good.
See, again,
I wouldn't necessarily put that as a horror though.
It's right. It's got horror elements and it's suspense.
But it's more of a suspenseful mystery kind of
bingo. And that's why I'll watch it. But it still qualifies under the horror genre.
That's almost a spoiler. I would hate to like tell someone it's a horror going into it because then they're going to be waiting for something kind of spooky to happen. It's better to like go into it not really knowing what you're expecting.
If you were watching Midnight Mass,
feeling that eeriness,
odds are you're already familiar with the creator and you know the other works he's done.
See, I didn't.
You just watched Midnight Mass on its own?
I just watched it.
The only reason I am watching Midnight Mass is because of all of the other shows.
I just watched it. I didn't even know it was connected to anything else.
And see, it's not even so much that it's connected. Actually, it is. It is connected.
The thing is, it was something where I really, really enjoyed it and I wanted more, but I also don't want more because it wrapped up so nicely. I would never want a sequel. I would never want like a spinoff or a continuation. Maybe more of a backstory, but even then, it left me content, but also still wanting more, but not.
So that is what all of his series have done so far. And this is about to turn into a whole nother episode. So maybe we'll come back after I've watched Midnight Mass and we'll discuss all of that. You watch Fall of the House of Usher. I'll watch Midnight Mass. We'll get Denisha in and we'll sit and we'll talk spooky stuff. But the guy, he did The Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor.
Oh, so he did Midnight Mass?
Midnight Mass.
I didn't know Midnight Mass was part. So yeah, I watched all of those. I didn't know he also did Midnight Mass.
Fall of the House of Usher. And I think the latest one that's come out from this person is Midnight Club.
Because he didn't use like the same actors. He didn't pull an American Horror Story from Midnight Mass, I don't think.
Yes, he did. Well, so I'm not going to say he reset, but a lot of the people that are in Midnight Mass are in Fall of the House of Usher.
So he did Midnight Club as well.
Right. Now that was what I was just saying. Like that's the
Yeah.
newest one that's come out.
Oh,
But
no, Midnight Club was 2022. House of Usher was 2023.
and Midnight Mass was
It was
2021.
2021, yeah, and then Bly Manor was 2020. Hill House was 2018. Apparently, that goes all the way back. Like he's done stuff since like 2011 or so. That's been, you know,
Wait a minute. I'm looking at this cast. I'm like, no, they're all here.
are they? Maybe I'm just not. I didn't recognize them when I was
Thomas.
watching it.
Samantha Sloyan.
It's the women that all look the same. That's who I usually look for.
Look, if it's got
The
Henry Thomas and Carla Gugino, I'm in. I'm in. Like you have me right there.
oh, I guess you got Kate Siegel is in both. I'm just kind of going back and forth.
Yeah. See, I mean, like
Looking back and
Henry
forth between the
Thomas,
two.
Henry Thomas and Carla Gugino tell me that it's the same thing, and it's the same, and to watch it just because they're in all of it.
Speaking
I'll
of
check
American
it out.
Horror Story, have they finished putting all that up yet so I can just get it out of the way? Let's see. I don't know. I have not watched a single one yet. And I'm honestly just waiting for it to come out. Like for all of the episodes to come out, I will binge it because the weaker seasons typically are better when you binge them.
See, that's what I was talking about right there. You instead, like if I was watching it, I couldn't even talk to you about it. I got to wait till the whole season comes out so you can watch it all at once.
No. Typically, I don't do that. At least not for American Horror Story. I'll watch it as it comes out. Like this is the first one since I've gotten into American Horror Story that I will not watch until the whole thing is out because I am already going into it thinking I'm going to hate it. So, and like the last few that I've done that with, that like I not necessarily went into hating it, but I ended up not liking it. I liked better watching it in like a binge situation rather than like week by week. So, but it looks like it's not. It said it's gonna be split into 2 parts. That sucks.
The Art of the Cliffhanger.
It's been a while since I'm gonna watch it then. I just can't stand that they put that chick in that role. I just no. Why do you keep blowing so much of your budget? Why you keep pulling a Black Mirror where you blow like your whole budget for that episode on some big celebrity?
I mean, if they can get away with doing minimal, like have that one celebrity, if they're like Black Mirror spends its budget very, very wisely, though. You know what I'm saying? They may spend a lot of money for that one person, but it is like 2 people in a room talking.
The last couple seasons have been so garbage. You can tell they put way too much into like I don't know if they had to fire writers or something or whatever, but like to like, oh, we really need to get Topher Grace in this one, and we need to get Miley Cyrus in this one, guys. She's gonna take most of the budget, so unfortunately, we got to let 2 of you writers go. And I know you guys were our best writers, but you're also the highest paid because you were our best. So we're just gonna let Jim and Bob over here write this episode. But we got Miley Cyrus. We should be really excited.
And you know they're going to give Miley a lot of input since they're paying for her. Give her credit as a writer, I'm sure.
It was anyway.
She'll get she'll get, you know what? She'll get EP credit. Anyway. So all in all, nothing but positive reviews from us here at Grown A Geeks. Five Nights at Freddy's. If you have not watched it, it's a safe bet. Like everybody seems to like it, some more than others, but nobody dislikes it so far. The numbers show that. You know, Linda coming through with the numbers, like it is blowing records out the water.
I mean,
This movie
why
is
have multiple
good.
monitors if I don't use them like Oracle?
Bingo. Love that Batman reference. Yo, that's what's we're gonna get you like full on comics pretty soon. I'm telling you, it's coming. Be careful.
I should have a new computer soon. I'm very excited. I think I mentioned it earlier in the show. I will do a little computer tour whenever I do get it. But I'm really I've been hanging on to this tower for a little over 2 years now, I think. And I'll be really excited to actually see it up and running and with everything in it and all that good stuff.
What color is your case?
My current one is black. It's just black with the glass side, It's very basic. I've got some stickers on it.
Are you getting a new case with the computer?
Yes.
What
So
color is that one gonna be?
the case I've been sitting on for about 2 years now. Like
Okay.
David got it for me for my birthday a couple years ago, and we've just been waiting to build it. Another friend of ours, like as a birthday present between last year and this year, um, is like filling in all the extra pieces and actually putting everything together for me.
Okay.
So he just gave me the specs today, and I am really excited for it. So
All right. Yeah.
he
So I was
told me
going
to
to say,
tell David not to be too jealous.
I will contribute to that. I have a nifty case that needs a home. Wife is kind of wanting me to get some stuff cleared out, and it is a really nice case.
Well, I've got a case already.
Right. Well, that's why I asked. And it's like, okay, well, if you already got a case, well, never mind.
Yeah. This one's pink and it has 7 RGB fans, and
Cool.
it's got floating glass on the sides, and it's like a weird like geometric shape.
Okay.
It's a Keter's brand.
This was a master cooler.
Might be
it had 5 case fans, but you could change them out to get pink RGB fans to go in it, and it was solid white with a nice big glass panel on the side. And I immediately thought of it being a pink and white case for you.
See, I'm not a big fan of pink and white. I like pink and black.
Pink and black.
But it's so hard for me to find.
If I'm not mistaken, though, your chair and your setup right there at the desk is already pink and white.
No, it's a lot of pink and black. My chair is pink and white because I can't find a pink and black chair. Not one that I like, at least. It's hard to find pastel pink with black. It's usually hot pink. And I like I said, I'm more of a pastel goth kind of thing. So like my computer desk is black. My microphone cover I've kept as black. I could have changed it out for a pink or a white. I like it as the black. Unfortunately, my little like mic I don't know, sound damper thing or whatever that it holds. It's not the actual arm that holds it, but it's on the end of the arm that holds the mic. That guy is pink and white because once again, that's all things come in. What doesn't help is the fact that I've got a Razer Tartarus Pro, which is also white. It came in, I think the one that I wanted specifically only came in white. So I didn't have a choice. The black one didn't have some features that I wanted.
See, so I think that's the issue then. Like the stuff that I can see on screen sometimes is pink and white. So it made me think that the setup was pink and white. And that's why I was like, you know what? I got this dope case. We can put pink lights in it, blah, blah, blah. So, okay. But I mean, you could have done the same thing with a black case and get you some pink LEDs. That wouldn't be hard to do. That wouldn't be hard to do at all.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this. It's a really nice looking case, and I am excited to see it in person, and how it's going to look. So I've been waiting for this for a while, and I've been waiting for like a really, really good PC for a while. I've also been waiting to play Baldur's Gate because I have my external hard drives like all crapped out on me, and supposedly, I believe the hard drives themselves are fine. I think it's the connection in the case itself. So I took the cases off, and one of the 4 terabytes, my main one, is going to be put in the new computer. Hopefully, it works because it has a lot of stuff on it. and yeah, I'll be able to play Baldur's Gate finally. Now that no one's playing it anymore.
Oh no, everybody, there's still a lot of people playing Baldur's Gate. I'm going to make I'm not going to say make the switch, but I'm going to jump in. If this rumor of Baldur's Gate coming to Xbox is true, that's when I'll jump in. I'd much rather be able to like simplify it, play it on my console, go with that. But I'm still Starfielding it up. A little bit slower on the Starfield. I got stuck on a mission. I was trying to multitask that day, doing a mission, playing something else on the phone, some shit. I have no clue what I'm supposed to do on this mission. And now it's just like wasting time. And I'm like, damn it. I don't want to restart the mission because I've already like, of course, like you have a conversation and then a checkpoint shows up and I go to the checkpoint and it continues to advance, but I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm hoping there's no story elements to this. And that's kind of got me worried. So I'm like, ugh. But if I can just get through this one mission, then it won't really matter, and I can get back to my gameplay. So it's kind of a minor thing, but yeah. So that's going to do it for tonight. Want to thank both of you for being on here with me, chit-chatting. We get to talk some streaming service dilemmas, and we did a good job. I was able to like kind of rant and ramble and talk about my frustration. Didn't even have all my damn notes, but y'all were able to voice some of the same concerns and recognizing this and that.
Oh, you should go watch that Banana Splits movie, by the way.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Like, apparently, I'm a damn horror fan. But question: is it a suspense horror or is it just horror?
It's a comedy horror.
Oh, okay. If it's Willy's Wonderland,
it's Willy's Wonderland.
I was about to say, yeah. If it's Willy's Wonderland, I could probably. Okay, cool. I'll probably check that out.
Yeah.
That's, that's a weekend watch when I ain't got shit to do. When it's all said and done, we got through tonight's show. I want to thank you. Appreciate you all coming on and giving me your thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's. Let me know what's what. You do have me more interested, I will admit. Like, I legitimately have. I'm curious about the graphic novels. I think it's something there. And like,
there was one more thing I wanted to mention about Five Nights at Freddy's. So the cupcake, right?
Right. I remember the cupcake.
You know how the cupcake acted kind of dog-like, right? It would like growl and like,
right.
like to bite a lot, right? It just kind of acted like a rabid dog. So there's a little girl that possesses the Chica animatronic. And she was lured in with her dog. And William Afton killed the dog and then killed her. So the theory now is that the dog's soul possesses the cupcake. And that's why the cupcake is so attached to Chica and Chica is so attached to the cupcake. And that's why the cupcake essentially acts like a rabid dog. Because we haven't really seen a lot from the cupcake in the games. The movie gave a lot more freedom to be able to see the cupcake actually in action doing things. But yeah, so I thought that was an interesting little tidbit.
That would actually explain a good bit about the dog. And like you sent me something about a Balloon Boy the other day, and I was kind of I was
the Balloon Boy stuff. Like I sent it to you before I watched the video, and then I realized that he just like made up everything in there. He made up like the whole thing. None of
all that is speculation, and
that's why I deleted it all. Like, I deleted the messages from the chat. If you look at it, it's gone.
Oh man!
Because yeah, it's like I sent it to you before I actually watched the whole thing, and I'm like, none of this is true. He's being stupid.
Wow.
like Balloon Boy's lore really isn't that deep. So, but I thought it might give a little bit of an explanation at least. And then he started just going off the rails. And I mean,
but everything he said kind of, you know what? I'm not
like, that would make a great Fazbear Fright story. But
it's like, it matched up. I thought it was accurate.
Yeah.
It totally matched up. See, now you got me sucked into this shit. Damn it.
But that just shows you have to be careful when you find lore videos like that, or like character explanation videos like that.
Right. Because people they put out the content they want to put out. So, okay. Yeah. Good deal. Speaking of putting out content, Mr. 1 million views over here. Heroic Hat on everything. Y'all make sure to check out my boy on TikTok. We're trying to get him to blow all the way up. And if I'm not mistaken, since I do follow you on Twitter, you actually are in the process of taking care of a lot of other things. A couple other things that you might want to go ahead and announce. It's all Heroic Hat on everything. So talk to me.
Wait. Hold on, what am I doing?
Okay, so if
you're
I'm not mistaken,
yourself. You've got projects you're working on. Talk about.
Oh shit! Right. Yeah. Sorry.
I follow you.
Sorry, like I was like, you got like a couple of things you want to announce. Like,
no, you got some stuff to announce because you doing things and you blowing up, and that's my homie, and I want to make sure you get that recognition.
I've opened up my Discord now, so it is free to just join in to talk about whatever. Once I get enough people in there, I'm going to start doing beginner fighting game tournaments. I have a couple of YouTube videos in the works. They are coming along. I'm just having a hard time organizing it like I would like. But they are coming. They are coming soon. I would say in the next week or so. And I think those are the big ones that.
Those are the big ones. And don't forget to make sure you all follow him on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. I'm Elder Geek Sam, but also follow Heroic Cat on TikTok. His shit's actually much better than mine. He's got skits. His stuff is funny. I just be showing y'all shit because I just want to share my stuff with you. But he's got content. He's funny. So follow him.
And I just post videos of the dogs, but you can follow me too.
Yes, definitely. But you know what? The dogs are so cute. They
are really cute though. I don't have my screen name up anymore though. I'm just Coca-Cola Shark, but that's not my screen name. I am Splenda MG, SPLINDA MG on everything you could ever think of. That is what my name is on literally everything.
It's cool that you've managed to keep that on all of it.
No one ever uses it because it's Splenda misspelled. So no one, for some reason, no one ever thinks of that. I could get just Splenda without the MG as like usernames for most things. I have for a couple, but I'm trying to keep the same brand.
Nothing's wrong with. Look, I'm rebranding. Okay, so at least you are good to stay on the same brand. I'm now rebranding. I'm Elder Geek Sam. So of course we're going to start making it an option to follow me, Elder Geek Sam, and we're gonna revamp Weigh In Wednesday in the coming year. We're going to reduce our shows. We're going to drop it down to 2 shows a month, or really just every other week. So instead of having 52 shows a year, we're going to have 26 shows a year. Get a little bit more rest in between and improve the quality of the content. The format's going to change just a little bit as well. So I'm looking forward to the way we're going to do that. There will be a little bit more short form content, and it will be easier to do these shows because they will be spaced out a little bit. But I'll have some little pop-ups in between there, and I'll start getting into the shorts and all that kind of great stuff. So a lot of goodnesses in the pipeline coming down the way, and I'm looking forward to it. So I want to make sure that this collection of content creators that we have over here at Grown Ape Geeks, everybody gets a moment to shine, and we continue to move forward in the future. I want to thank David and Linda both for joining me tonight as we talked about streaming services and Five Nights at Freddy's review part 2. Had a chance to check out the movie with them. We enjoyed it. We went to what was the name of the theater?
Movie
Tavern. We had a meal. Actually had a pretty damn good burger. Had a meal and a movie. So it was like a weird, awkward 3-way date. They sat in a separate section than myself, so it was all fine. No, I got a chance to hang out with my friends and go watch a movie that I wouldn't have watched otherwise, and I did enjoy it. So I thank them for that, for hanging out with me. Likewise, I thank you people for hanging out with us tonight. Click that QR code there. Make sure to follow us. Join our group. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and pretty much everywhere you have your socials. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you can always be aware whenever we're live or whenever we're doing shows. That's going to do it for us tonight. We appreciate you being here. You all have a great day. We are out of here. Peace.